Hello everyone, Adifemi Great here again. And in today's episode, I've been doing a couple of digging in regards to Godot, and I would have to say Godot is quite simple. So I can't even remember the last time it was this simple, and yeah, I think it's the best choice. By the way, a friend of mine recommended this. It was the only comment I got, and yeah, I was sticking with using Godot. In the past, I tend to want to use Unity, but I heard Unity has become so complex, and Godot is actually the new Unity. So yeah, so far so good. My experience has been a good one. The flow has been quite fluid. The process has been quite good. And as you can see on the screen, this is the version I've created so far. And you'll be wondering, this is quite far from what Contra looks like. And yeah, I get it. That's totally true. However, this is more of an experimentation. I want to get more accustomed to Godot, then move on to focusing more on preparing good elements, good character that actually fits the theme of things. And so far, so good. We are trying to replicate the exact same thing as the original game. And that's why, even though the visuals are 3D, the character movement itself is still maintained as a side-scroller game. So you can only move left or right, just like you have with the existing one. And you can jump. Yeah, so this was the mistake I made in the earlier version I created, where I was trying to replicate the somersaults. So technically, before we round up the whole thing, that's probably going to still happen because that makes it look more like the original, which is the thing I'm going with. However, it's not going to be like that, more like going to be a somersault that fits into a 3D character. So yeah, this is what I've been able to create so far. I've been able to create the character movements, add a couple of content into the scene, and just try to see how well Godot is going to work with this. And if you can tell from the visuals, you see that the visuals is quite stunning, and I'm quite optimistic about the result of this at the end of the day. So aside from showing you what I've been doing since and where I've gotten to as regards our Contra project, I also want to share with you what I've explored to be able to build this. I remember I mentioned that AI is a game changer, and yeah, I stick with that. That's quite the theme of things. So I've been able to fast track this process with the help of AI. All the textures you can see on the screen are created by ChatGPT. Most of the codes used for the character controller are created with process, so everything is moving faster than it will have originally been. For instance, I was able to quickly bootstrap this thing within less than an hour. However, I'm pretty sure if there was no AI tool to even research for textures are going to be an issue, to write efficient and effective code will become an issue. Take for instance, this character animation transition, you'll notice how smooth it is. By default, that's not what you get. So this smoothness was influenced by Cursor. So initially, I had a tacky animation and I told Cursor, this animation looks tacky. Can you make it smooth? And you can see it blends in. So once you are done with the shooting animation, it smoothly moves back to the idle animation, and I'm loving it. So yeah, enough of all the talk about what I've created. Let's quickly go over what I did. So by the way, that was the running flow, and you can see the color scheme. If I delete these two items and run it again, you see that things get darker. And the funny thing is, this is what you get by default. So this is what your scene is going to look like by default. So in order to actually get the best view, you have to add this to your scene. And once we do that, we get this back. By the way, I'm not teaching you how to use Godot. I'm just walking through what I've done. If you need to learn Godot, I have tutorials to recommend. I will link them in the description section. So yeah, you've been able to get quick information about what the world environment and directional light do. So if you come here, you get to add those information. So also, I like the layout of Godot. The fact that you can set up different scenes like a tab format, just like you are with your code within VS Code, makes so much sense. And because I'm coming from VS Code, it makes everything quite similar. It makes it look like something I'm already familiar with. So it's quite easy for me to navigate through here and see how things are meant to flow. Another thing here is the layout, the structure of your contents. Again, I do a lot of React, and this is exactly how React structure things. React structure things in a tree-like format where everything is connected together through a node. And in this case, everything is a node. For example, your main item is a node. The only difference here is the type. The type can either be a 2D type or a 3D. And based on the kind of game we are trying to create, it's a 3D, so it makes sense. Everything just have to be 3D, right? Then the content. So the content is more like a folder for every content on the scene. So you have the grass, that's the floor, we have this wall. And the whole idea of the wall is just to give me an idea that I'm moving forward or backward. Because if I remove it, so let's try, I remove the wall and play the game, then yeah, I don't really get that feeling as adequate as what I will have when I have the wall. So yeah, that's just the idea here. And don't mind what we have so far. This is just me still trying to experiment. It doesn't make sense to create so many things without really understanding the flow quite well. So yeah, we have that. So another interesting thing is that you can create multiple scenes. And in case of Godot, scenes are things you can just reuse. So for instance, our player is a scene and we can set up multiple scenes. So for instance, this is the player scene. I can add more within this tab here. And in the player scene, I can make the player module, create everything that relates to the player, do all my testing within here before even importing into the other place. This makes us isolate things and easy to develop things better. So this is more like your file system, classes you create, and so on. So here we have it. And my setup for the player is quite simple. I have a character body 3D, which you have with Godot. You will get to know more about that if you learn Godot or if you are into game development. And we have the shape. The shape is the capsule you can see here. Then we have the visual. So I separated the visual from other things because I want to be able to flip my character. These are quite technical. These are some experience I had initially with game development. So it came back quite easily. Something I just learned though from the tutorials I've been watching is the usage of the camera mount. So with the camera mount here, you can easily control how your camera is viewed, as you can see. And the camera itself, you can preview what it's looking at, and that's what renders the game. So technically, this is what everything looks like. And the interesting part about all this development is the fact that I can work with cursor and write my scripts. So I created a folder for my script, and the only script I have so far is the GD script, which you can open within here. But instead, I've decided to use cursor, which made things even way better than I expected. So you can already see the history of the things I already commanded it to do. Yeah, I am the wizard and I can command it to do almost anything. So I told it that the space was not working and it was able to quickly fix that. And you can see the code here. And I'm loving what I'm capable of doing at the moment. I almost feel like a wizard. And to round this up, I'll quickly show you where I got my character from. So yeah, this character is not the Contra character. We are going to eventually create that. But just to test this out, I got this from Mizamo. And by the way, I created my textures from ChatGPT. So this is the wall texture and this is the ground texture. And I'm loving this. So with this, you can literally tell it what to create. And I can already visualize what the end goal is going to look like. So that's by the way. So this is Mizamo, Mizamo.com. It's owned by Adobe and you can see a lot of animations. Yeah, the animations are not the best. You can easily tell from the character. Look at the game once again. If we play it, you can see the character and it's not the best looking one. So yeah, the animation is not the best looking, but it's good enough to get you started and at least get you into some places. And yeah, that's literally it. If you need to learn anything, if you want to know more information about what I've done, yeah, you can request that. I would be happy to teach you. But the intention here is to keep you updated on how the activities in regards to my contract creation is going and to ensure that I'm still following up. And yeah, so you can always encourage me and share me up. So again, I'll be running this up here. If you enjoy the flow, if you enjoy what you are seeing so far, and you enjoy what we are intending to achieve, leave a like and subscribe if you've not. I will see you in the next episode where we'll have done so much more because, yeah, we have AI. Bye for now. I'll see you in the next one.